Well, welcome to Backstage with Geoffrey Morrissey. I am your host, Geoffrey Morrissey. We're at the Sinclair today. Never actually had a conversation on the balcony, but I have good company to do it with. I'm joined by Jospeh. Thank y'all for making the time.
Absolutely.
And then could y'all just introduce yourselves to our listeners?
Yeah, I'm Natalie. I am Allison. Natalie is the oldest, and I am the middle. That's not true. We're twins. I'm Megan.
That's not true. We're twins.
I am the middle of us.
By 45 minutes.
By 45 minutes, but you hold on to it, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Clearly, yes, exactly. Well, the last time that I saw you guys play was at Newport Folk Festival, which everyone was buzzing about that set. Yeah, what was it like to play there? I can only imagine the history and sort of just being in that space.
It felt very reverent, honestly. Yeah, just kind of that feeling of, we've admired that festival for a long time and heard from a lot of other musician friends that it's really special. And I got to go the day before and listen to, some amazing music, including my favorite songwriter, Ben Gibbard, playing solo. And it was just, it really moved me. And doing this job, you don't often get to go see other shows. So, getting to do that was really important.
Oh, yeah. And that Ben Gibbard set was one of my I've never heard anything like that with such great heights.
It was so incredible because he didn't dress it up at all. It was just him and a guitar, and it was perfect.
I completely echo all of that. So this record was your major label debut. So what did you sort of take from that you might put into your next full length? Was there any different sort of process working with a label?
Yeah, we just have a greater, there's a greater breadth. We can kind of do so much more when we have the resources, and also we always say that our label has much longer arms than we have to reach a lot farther. And so it's really exciting to have that in mind when you're making something, knowing that it could really go wherever you want it to go, because we have an amazing team. So, and it's also really cool to talk with people who've been working in this industry for a long time and to get their guidance and wisdom, but also feel totally believed in with our own artistic choices.
No, of course. And this was also one of the first times that y'all brought other people, other than the three of you, in for the songwriting process. So tell me a little bit about that. Why did you want to work with other people, and how did it sort of end up going?
I think that one reason why we wanted to work with other people is just to kind of learn from others. And everybody writes so different, whether they're just starting with the lyrics versus the melody or something. And it was a really incredible learning experience, and you connect easier with some people than you do with others. And but we have this guy, Andrew Stonestreet, who is kind of like the fourth member of our band that doesn't actually play with us, but he's been kind of we've co-written with him since our very first thing. So he was for a while the only guy that we co-wrote with, and then we've kind of expanded since then, but Andrew is still very majorly on our team. We actually did the last EP that we just released called Stay Awake with him, which is cool.
And that's a great EP too. We'll definitely be chatting about that in a second. But one of the things that I also noticed when listening to the record were the references to nature. So what is it about the landscapes, or sort of the more natural, like a Blood and Tears or something like that really sort of calls to you?
I think that it's has to do a little bit with where we came from. The Pacific Northwest is just gorgeous, and I think that the land has had a lot to do with our childhood. I mean, we grew up making forts in the woods and going camping and swimming in lakes, and I don't know, our parents always encouraged us to get out and be in it. So, and Megan is a gardener, and it's just, I think it's a huge part of how we experience the world is the tangibles. And I always have felt that when you hear tangibles in a song, that it helps ground you instead of just lofty metaphors,
No, of course, that makes total sense. You guys have had now a little bit of time, because you've been going nonstop, whether it's touring, making new music, to be with this record for a little while though. So what have been the songs that have been sticking out to you now that you've had a chance to be with them, or really connecting with the crowd?
I think the song I Don't Mind has been a really big one. Yeah, and what other ones? Whirlwinds?
Yeah, that has come up. Yeah, it's cool to see the songs take different life when you play them in front of crowds night after night after night, and see which ones really hit.
Well, one for me is honest, and just to sort of, for people who are not familiar with that, there's always two thoughts, one after the other, I'm alone, no you're not, which I think sums up the experience of adolescence and coming to terms with yourself and insecurity in a really sort of profound and succinct way. So what does that line mean to you guys when you sort of reflect on it? Because it spoke to you, it's the sort of basis for the title of the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the tension in your mind when you're talking to yourself. I think the back and forth of like truths and lies and distinguishing what's what between the two, basically. Yeah.
And it does that perfectly. So we now have the EP, Stay Awake, and from your Facebook page, it's a collection of songs that we put together to help ourselves deal with heaviness. It's a bit telling it like it is, it's a bit of keep going. And as I just mentioned, I mean, this is the fourth time at least that you've been to the Boston and Boston area on this record cycle alone.
Yeah.
So how have you been staying grounded and staying sane in a year where it just seems like everything is happening at once?
I mean, you have to have a lot of conversations with each other, because just like anything, you can kind of get into the grind of it, you know, like just the day in and day out. Okay, we're doing this thing, and I think that especially this EP. And lately just starting to write again has really brought new life to what we're doing. And like the last couple shows we've gotten to play, we have a lot of new material in our set, and it's just really exciting, honestly. And that's kind of what you have to do. It's like you do the same thing over and over, and you kind of have to check in with each other all the time. Be like, how are we? Are we alive? Are we thriving? Do we feel like we have something real and true to bring people, or are we just kind of going through the motions, you know? So you have to just stay present and stay honest.
And it must be nice to have some experience with that sort of before jumping into the music stuff alone, because you've been communicating for a while.
Right,
Yeah.
Totally.
And then so you guys do a ton of these interviews, which as a journalist I appreciate. It must get exhausting. So what do you wish you were either asked about more often? What do you wish people would just Google beforehand, and then so that way you don't have to go over it again?
Let's see, one question we get all the time is do you like fight as sisters and that kind of thing?
It's hard, and that's hard. Yeah,
Mhm.
that's hard to talk about because like everyone's family is different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also, we're people.
Right,
Yeah.
we're people. I wish that not very many people ask about why different songs
That's
were
what I
written.
was gonna say.
Which I think
Or,
is
like,
interesting,
what
because that's
songs
what we've
mean.
like based our entire career off of. And not many people actually they
Yeah.
more like ask about dynamics between us
And
versus
touring.
in touring versus like the
Actual
songs.
works. Yeah, which I appreciated that you asked about honest, and also that you like quoted like that thing when they were like, hey, can you write a blurb about this EP? You know, we put thought into that, and like Megan helped me. I was like laboring over how to describe this EP and what it was, and I was just like, Megan, please help. And we put so much thought into that. And it's not often that people are like, oh, you said this, and it's cool to make that statement that you care about like become a conversation, you know, and it's cool when people notice those things, so I appreciate you noticing that.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. I always say it's such a self-serving question, but my hope is that some journalist is listening and goes, oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah.
And they know for next time. So you said that you sort of have a fourth sort of like shadow member, Joseph. So who would be the fifth member if you could add someone into the band?
Brian.
Oh, do you mean anyone we know, or like a crazy?
You can do both. I'm happy with either.
Oh my gosh. Well, either Marshall, our tour manager, or our parents are probably the natural
Added
fifth
into our
members.
band?
No, like they're the natural, like they're part of the team,
Oh, the
you know.
most contributing.
Yeah, like or our management. I don't know. We have an amazing. We have so many people on our team. But if I could choose anyone in history, like to be in our band,
I don't know.
I don't know. That's really
Probably
hard.
like Neil Young or something. I
Oh
don't
yeah!
know.
Wow. Can you imagine?
Neil Young or
That'd be
like
so
Bruce
cool.
Springsteen.
Oh, Bruce Springsteen. Oh, that would be great. I'm hearing this already. I'm very excited. And then this will be one of my last questions for you. It's last call at the karaoke bar. What song are y'all singing? You can each have a different one.
Here we
but-
go.
Natalie.
I see.
Wait, I know her song. It's Before He
embarrassing.
Cheats by Carrie Underwood. And Megan's is Firework by Katy Perry. And mine is I'm still deciding because I don't really like karaoke, but it's growing on me.
And was that like over the past couple years it's growing on you?
No,
Just
for like the
got
very
forced
last
into it.
time that we went to karaoke, actually in Jospeh, Oregon,
Brian signed you up for us.
Brian, our bass player, music director, he signed me up for a song without me knowing, and it might have changed me.
But this will be my last question. I know that every week you guys have a show to play. Who are y'all listening to right now? Who have been some of your favorite bands?
Henry Jameson is like so good. I have all of his songs on repeat over and over and over.
I just
He's really cool.
I just found this girl named Billy Van.
Oh, okay.
Studies with Jonas Alaska, who I love, and I saw him post about her on his Instagram, and she's super rad.
Oh my gosh, I'm trying to think of like a full album I've been listening to. I've been listening to the new,
National.
yeah, Penny and Sparrow is a band we love. They have a brand new album out that I've been loving, and
Daniel Caesar. That guy just put
yeah.
out a record, and it's very good.
Okay, this is not like a new thing, but High as a Kite put out this acoustic versions of some of their songs, and the first two songs on that little EP slay me.
Just a smattering of all different things. If you're not listening to I'm Alone, No You're Not, I don't know if you're waiting for an invitation, but consider this one. The Stay a Week EP is great too. I've been joined by Jospeh. Thank you all so much for taking the time.
thank you so much.
Thank you.